Welcome everyone. This is Selector Williams Live Uganda. I welcome you to this YouTube channel, and I thank you very much for taking time always to watch this content, or my content, or the content that I always upload on this channel. I've always told you that this YouTube channel and the content on it is basically supposed to be creative and performing arts. Why the creative and performing arts, and why music as an art in particular be the biggest on this channel? Because me as a person, away from being a journalist practicing mass communication, being a presenter on Radio Sapiencia, being the station manager and head of programs there, Selector Williams is a musician. Who is a musician? Any person who practices, who deals in something musical. For example, instrumental players, songwriters, song arrangers, song composers, audio producers, recording and performing artists, analysts, especially those who have taken time to go and study music journalism, commentary and analysis. So I'm a musician. A musician is not so much limited to a recording and performing arts. So I've had many people saying that Selector Williams is not a musician. I am a musician who once practiced active audio production, and later on I went into music direction, and also on air I'm so much into commentary and analysis. So my contribution sometimes is visible to people who care to know my contribution at Naba Taboram wage. But on a very serious note, today I come to talk about what is going on regarding relationships between music artists and record labels in Uganda. We all understand that in Uganda it has not been so much long since we embraced record labels, and we understand that it is a shift or a transition from what used to be our record labels, in quotes, who used to do distributions when they came up with music stores, doing distribution. Those people are the Kasiwukiras, the Kagabes, the other Moyigo guy, Weda. So those are the kinds of record labels we used to have, who used to do distributions for us. And tetubadde nnyo mu kintu kino ekya record labels in Uganda. It is a thing that is coming, and we thank people like Julius Chazebeno Mgumi and the entire team at Swans Avenue, because they are the people that have tried, at least their level based, a fair practice regarding how record labels work in Uganda. And artists have not so much embraced a relationship or embraced working with record labels, and the record labels have not taken enough time to kind of give right information to the artists. In Uganda so far we are having many registered record labels, and among them is Swans Avenue, of course. There is, I don't know whether Phenon is a record label. I don't know. I'll need to talk maybe to Steve Jean or the team at Phenon to understand get information regarding whether they are a record label or not. But on top of Swans Avenue, we have ABM, that is where Kusaim now works. At some point, Eddie Kenzo came out and told us that he's having a record label that is Big Talent. There is Master Music as a record label. There is Voices and Beats located in Machi, India. There is Sierra K Planet. So now, like I've always told you, I've told you in this video, that it has not been long since we went into artists working with record labels. So recently I've had a lot of issues between artists and record labels. Recently, when the lockdown began, according to the story I got from the top manager or the CEO at Black Market, was like when the lockdown kicked in, and actually the pandemic, when arrowed towards Uganda and we were locked up or down, came up. That gentleman came up with putting up a record label that is Black Market. And after some time, I saw many artists jumping onto the record label, not knowing what their record agreements, their relationships, their agreements, of course, I've mentioned agreements, their contracts regarding business execution. I did not actually know the kinds of arrangements they had. I saw Daddy Andre working with Black Market. I saw Nina Rose. I saw Shakira. I saw Angela Katatumba, and many more. Actually, Felista sometime. But to me, knowing how the little knowledge I have about record labels, I would think maybe Black Market is distributing for Nina Rose. Maybe is having a 360 arrangement contract where they are supposed to take care of whatever business that has to do some any business right from songwriting or buying songs, or production, distribution, performances, and etc. So Norisongeyo record labels in Uganda tunatandika kuzikozesa. So recently, of recent, even right now, there is a story. We have had stories. I remember some time issues came up when Irene Intale left Swans Avenue, and later on we would hear stories of they have taken my Facebook page, they have taken my YouTube channel, they have taken. And those issues, when it comes in the news, it depends on how you handle your communications and how you handle the public relations. Public relations is simply a way of handling your image and the public's. What you sell to the public, the way you sell it is how the public will take it. And the other challenge when with artists in Uganda, they are lacking people handling their communications. And most of the time, public relations is handled by the media. You only hear Nina Rose talking, hear Bruno K talking, hear Selector Williams talking on behalf of an artist on a mainstream channel. There is no way, we have not embraced public relations, where you will find an artist having a handler, you know, ndi muntu nya asaga. That's why sometimes when saga and radio, abantu abayimba abayimbi banyiga. So I was driving a serious point home. So the point was, an artist ought to it would be better for them to have a person handling their public relations, where you don't always need to be on a mainstream channel to express yourself, to give your side of the story. Because at the end of the day, when you're hosted on a mainstream channel, or a show on a mainstream show or channel, they will look for an angle that is selling, because they are a news channel, they are a media house. They are practicing business. They are into business. When you bring your public relations to be broadcasted or mass communicated on their TV station, on their radio station, they'll look for a more catchy line or headline of Selector Williams begudde mbifuba ne record label gye bayita Kinyeebwa. At ne record label, if they don't have proper communications departments, when they don't have people handling their public relations, you'll find them on the same shows organized by traditional media houses, TV, newspapers, and etc. Kati nobasanga nga bonna bali mukayanira ku TV shows, bakayanira ku radio shows. And those radio shows and TV shows that you're risking to handle your public relations because you don't have those departments, Boba, they are doing business. For us, we are doing business. We are not supposed to do public relations for you guys. Most of the time, I've talked to one of the friends I have in Uganda when it comes to music artists, recording artists, and big people in the music industry. I have only two people. One of them is Juliana Kanyomos, another one is Mr. Semakula. I've had discussions with Mr. Semakula where he normally comes out and is like, Selector Williams, can't you at any time be positive? Why you always communicate? He's not telling me as a person, by me on behalf of the media, because I'm part of the fraternity or industry of the media. And my point is always been, Mr. Semakula, sife tu inobakole public relations. You're supposed to handle your issues. You're supposed to work out life. You're supposed to have communications departments. You're supposed to handle public relations, and you're not supposed to talk all the time when you are approached by the media people. So, getting back to issues of relationship between record labels and music artists, first of all, we have had a lot of bad publicity, bad public relations, than good business between these two people. Because before they come out to fall out, to have issues, challenges, and weaknesses on either sides, but they want good relationships. For example, Irene Ntale, they have good moments with Swangz Avenue. Then what happens? As Swangz Avenue, do we have a plan, exit plan for an artist? Under the contracts, do we have those clauses of an artist at this point may or can at liberty get out of the record label? And when they go out screaming or yelling that their Facebook pages are taken, because at the end of the day, apparently for us, we don't know your agreements, we don't know how you agreed, how you put pen on paper regarding the contract you signed, regarding the social media accounts, that when I'm parting I'm leaving the record label, who handles the social media platforms? When you do it, what are you supposed to do? What is the contract I'm having with you? Is it a 360 where you're supposed to handle all the stuff regarding a business, music as a business? Kati ebintu ebyo bizere tusumbua. Kati public relations PR avaayo atandika okubeera omubi, where media will come out and say Irene Ntale ayabulidde Swangz, oba Swangz ebye Irene Ntale, and the publics who are supposed to be your consumers, your fans, your customers of music, both Swangz Avenue and the artist that is leaving the record label, they remain confused, and confused majorly by the media. Because whenever you don't have handlers of communications and public relations, media will handle it for you, and the bad way. You don't know no who don't know. We are having issues of Brunake, Nina Rose, going head on with black market. First, we don't know. Until when public relations handlers of both sides, of Nina Rose and Brunake, came out soberly, either on their social network, social media platforms, or buying airtime on TV and do your PR. Because on Uncut Sabula, it is a TV show that is supposed to be doing business and generate or project ratings. So, discussions zebera na zone. Mr. Semakura zibera, we are not supposed to do PR for you. Ayagamba contribution ya mweliki. We are supposed to come and report stories. Era nyiga when we go overboard. We as people in the media. Nti olumu Selector Williams ajja kujja akola analysis kuli maybe akubiragane lwaki tonjagala. I'll tell you, one story is when I went on NBS and I was like, to me, Dan Ragadi, an elder, my elder, one of the elders I have in this business, did not bring it out when he went high melodies of when he imitated Lucky Dube. And for them to have the highlight of that show, they had to cut a clip when Ragadi was, while Ragadi did the other high-pitched flow and me doing the commentary. And Ragadi would be, aja kunyiga. Kati nange ngambe, mushoyo naje nakoze yesawe bili. Bacha kukibasaze. To them, they are looking for the highlights that are selling the show. Public relations that cannot work for a media house that is doing business. And news is two-sided. Media will always look for that side where that is selling. But public relations is strategic communication, where you're supposed to come and paint a clear picture of you as a business entity, Nina Rose, that is a brand of music as a business and a talent, for your clients, or those where you go and look for endorsements, for your consumers, for your fans. And katobala ivoya teja chukua. And let us as artists build in muzungu luganye ekigambo kiganje malya olukuleta kivula neddira mu Luganda bibinsumbuwa Juliana yatampa luzungu lumala. Tanyamba chimala. A culture of building teams that are supposed to do public relations, and one of the tools that you can use under public relations is keeping quiet. Not all the time you're supposed to be on a show to talk, especially as an artist. You'll be driven by emotions. By emotions. That's why these days I appreciate people like Jose Chameleon, Baby Cool, where when you say something that is not appealing or not good about Baby Cool, he will calmly call you and is like, Muzee, another person is Waiki Bender. When feels that you did commentary or analysis on his song or songs and is not happy or is not feeling well, Waiki Bender will call you and you will dialogue, reconcile and move on. Naye omuyimbi bwona buli bwokkiriza nti buli bwonyiga ogeragera mu media ogera byonona. For example, this point in case in point, Nina Rose is in the news. Having a good case maybe, but for us, we don't know what exactly they agreed upon regarding, are they supposed to handle their production right from song composition, arrangement and writing, or buying songs for her? Are they responsible as black market, or were they responsible when they signed? Did they agree for them to handle her production work, or she would do her production work, do the songwriting, buying songs and etc. And them are supposed to, them in quotes, that is black market, they are just meant to do distribution. And if they are supposed to do distributions where Nina Rose is no longer having a chance to perform on weddings and having and go and perform on concerts, because we are still locked up and no concerts are allowed to take place. When you handle your distribution rights or responsibilities to a person, just know you've given out your all. The YouTube channel, Spotify, iTunes, and etc. Actually, distribution is as well done on Facebook or digital and platform channels. You're giving, so they will handle. I'll tell you a story. Sometime, it is now a month, when Kakensa, one of the sober, I'm looking, Juliana Nyamba, kunonye chigambo sober, sobest chiri, the most sober. So because they are not my friends, they are just partners in this business. Do I have another person in this business? No, it is only Juliana Kanyumuz and Mr. Siba. Actually, Baby Cool is supposed to be my friend. Baby Cool is supposed to be my friend. Bobby Wine is supposed to be my friend. But Bobby Wine is the other side, and I cannot pressure, but let us be friends. But Baby Cool is supposed to be my friend. But being my friend, I'm supposed to know to handle your public relations. That's why when a story comes, I put it on table the way it is, and sometimes it hurts. But a story, sometimes one of the most sober bloggers Uganda has and is doing business from outside Uganda is Kakensa. Share the link, having content explaining how record labels work in Europe. Actually, by the time he sent that link, I had done research, and the good thing was that this link that I went through, which I went to watch a video on YouTube, had the same content that I had researched about how record labels work world over, even in Uganda. Actually, let me talk about outside Uganda. A record label is a business entity looking for profits. It's supposed to generate revenues. In America, in Europe, in London and elsewhere, when a record label signs or intends or calls an artist or agree to do business with an artist, at the back of their mind, they are looking for revenues, revenue correction. They cannot go into agreement with an artist without minding business. They are so much business oriented as record labels. So, on top of whatever they do in terms of creating relationships with artists, they do proper public relations. They do play propaganda and politics regarding branding. What normally happens is this. On board, they will come and produce pictures of Mad Dog and the CEO or brand manager, operations manager for a particular record label, with a press release, Chikajo record label has today put pens on paper signing Mad Dog. Oh, and that press release ebirako ka budgeti ka media houses bagenda kuyita bannayo lunaku lwaleero Mad Dog Jero Mapembere Jero Majambere asayininze record label gibayita Chikajo. That is public relations. Era mu record label they are under this deal. On this deal, Yero Jerkan or Mad Dog is bagging $10,000 US dollars. Whatever. Because they are doing business, they are supposed to front propaganda and politics and good public relations to communicate to the publics and the stakeholders, people doing the same business, that we are here and we are signing the best talent. Katibagaya record labels, they come and Mad Dog is happy, is seated between the public relations person, marketing manager for the record label, the CEO, administrator and director of repertoire and products. Yes, I'm Mad Dog. It is true I've signed with Chikajo record label. They are they are the best. Actually, I'm going to earn a lot. They don't know this business. They are like, yeah, this deal at the start will this deal will be, it is a 360, maybe 360 is degrees. Accommodation, airtime, data, fashion or saloon every week, shopping, they can give you some mutwaro gwa dollar if you are in America, obe mitwalo ebiri obe mitwalo etano and they are telling you, for matters, purposes of branding and imaging, you'll need a new car. Okay, new clothes, you'll need a boutique. Bajitani atibazita boutique kale gwa mu Uganda oli boutique okukwambaza ochuke kati ezo sente zonna record label yeri mu kuteeka where they fall out with artists is always at the time of them trying to pull back their inputs in terms of finances. Another thing is, artists at the time of signing agreements and contracts to work with record labels, especially in Uganda where we don't have much knowledge regarding how record labels work, we just sign. Tonenya. Way forward is what? Way forward should be, Nina Rose should not again go back to media houses to settle their grievances with black market. And black market should not allow should not talk when they are approached by a media house. What their business is done, it is dented. They are continuing to dent Nina Rose as a brand and the black market because because it is what now is hard. So to me, I'm like, Nina Rose, sorry. Irene Intaris, sorry. Bruno K, sorry. Whoever is having issues with record labels of late, very sorry. But let us continue to learn and read enough to thoroughly understand how record labels work. Because, for example, they can do publishing, publishing, and distribution. We have had issues where badabandi badiki bagamba tuli kubunkenke is our song. Did they sign a publishing contract? Did they sign a distribution right? And a distribution right cannot go beyond 18 months, 12 months. It cannot be forever. A distribution right cannot be forever. And did you even give in your patent rights, intellectual rights, if you wrote your song? Did you even give in your patent, your intellectual right? A patent right is a right that is given to another person who did not create that work to use, either to perform or broadcast, or is a patent right. and it is as well timely. But sometimes people, out of ignorance, out of not having much knowledge about a thing or business or how distribution and publishing works world over, they end up giving in all their all. Never why all their all. Julia Nanyamba, what's your Zoom Sobia? Let me get back to track upon so never why you be publishing. Okuja, no tona, you brand the jacket, no branding, distribution, you distribute. Boundary is the key. In the times of Mr. Rusin, Kasiuki and the likes, they would distribute me such Semakula's songs even beyond the Ugandan borders. To Rwanda, but in agreements. How did they agree? And in the case point, this point of Nina Rose versus Black Market, which rights are we talking about? Distribution rights, publishing rights, patent rights of what? Who produced Andereya? Because there are sound recording rights, there are economic rights where you have manya kwaninge binji. Na ye kuchine chaba. Let us take time, and I'll call upon people like Julius Chaze. I understand they are not so much media people, but they are the very people who should always come out to educate us practically how record labels work in Uganda in particular. On NBS TV, I said that I no longer want to do analysis and commentary about Ugandan music, creative and performing arts to the standards, but according how it is done in Uganda. And in Uganda, Julius Chazi is the right person to come out and tell us. Just educate us, give us some good information and education regarding how have you managed to work with artists like Irene Ntale. How did you, what were the success stories? What were the weaknesses on both sides? What were the challenges? How did you overcome them? And other people like Voices and Beats, people like Sierra Planet, because they will continue to have issues. And the record label is not so much limited to only signing or to handle talent acquisition, development, and management. No, a record label is beyond that. And I have a colleague who works with Voice, actually, the CEO at Voices and Beats. Is having good information. Is the person who reads a lot and knows how record labels work. And I am sure Council Chisuze of Sierra Planet is having as well good information regarding how record labels work. And Julius has mentioned him. I don't know whether the ABM guys have good information. We should have dialogues. We should have discussions of a summit, a symposium of intellectuals to sit on a round table, at a round table where? Table. And discuss these issues. I am telling you. Otherwise we shall continue to have issues of allowing media, the mainstream media who are supposed to be doing business, to handle our public relations. We as Sierra Planet, Voices and Beats, ABM, Masters, Black Market, Swans Avenue, and Nina Rosa as an artist and a music brand. To me, I am like, we should not just mutaka. Let us learn to handle public relations and not kill this industry. Most of the time, artists come out to say, Selector Williams, members of the industry. But when we keep quiet on issues like this one, no artist can come out and articulate issues this way. Sometimes you should, at least out of courtesy, also thank us. Ntibana selector wa dorumu aba anjogeredde bubi kulimba lwange. Niba mbigayo olumu volunteering and some good information. Because he's a musician, I'm a musician. I can play more than 5 instruments. A musician is not so much limited to only jumping on stage and singing. And sing. A musician is a person who practices, who does anything attached to music, especially a technical thing. An audio producer, an instrument player. Not this. The distributors are business people, so much oriented, business oriented. But people who can play an instrument, a writer. To me, I'm a musician, and I call upon artists, people who have good information, people like Bushington. A lot of people have Jenkins, Sandy, James Proper is a learned person regarding online distribution. I am Selector Williams, Live Uganda, powered by many record labels. But I'm proud to say that in Uganda we have Voices and Beats as the record label. erimu kuzimbibwa CRK Bland, ABM, Masters, Black Market and Swanks Avenue. Goodbye.